I have been promising tier list updates for quite a while, and it is finally here. We are doing the VE Tower tier list in this video, and then in a day or two, I will be releasing the PvP tier list. So if you guys would like to see that video, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. Let's get into it. We are going to be starting with the old units and moving a couple of them around before we place the new units here at the bottom. The very first old unit I want to move is going to be World Heroes Missions Deku, who is all the way down here in F tier. Okay, so some things have happened recently where they went back and buffed the World Heroes Missions characters. This made them so much better for PvE and for PvP, and actually made them worth summoning for. So I know a lot of people went in hard on the World Heroes Missions banner, maybe to their dismay with all the other characters that came out right after, but I think he is definitely worth it, and you are very lucky if you pulled him or pulled extra copies of him. He has a technical hit, he can raise his own plus ultra gauge, he has amazing cooldown times now of 3 turns, he has 30% crit to all allies for the first 3 turns of battle, and then his only real downside is that he lacks status elements, and that's it. There is nothing else. He has everything else you're looking for: technical hits, plus ultra, good cooldowns, crit rate for all allies. All that stuff is really, really good. So for that reason, we are going to be placing World Heroes Missions Deku in S tier. That is a massive jump from F to S. That is actually insane, right guys? The next character we're going to be moving, you might have guessed, it is another World Heroes Missions character. It is going to be the World Heroes Missions Bakugo. World Heroes Missions Bakugo is currently sitting down here in D tier. He is going to be moving up, not quite as much as Deku though. So he has technical hits, 1 action skill being a double technical hit. He has his own plus ultra gauge raise. He has good cooldowns, but what he lacks 2 things. He lacks status elements and he lacks crit. So because he's lacking status elements and crit and just has okay cooldowns, we're going to end up moving him to C tier. He can be used in certain specific VE towers or VE tower situations, but he's not going to be able to be used in most all VE towers like Deku is going to be able to be used in almost every single VE tower now. And we do have a new VE tower coming out here very shortly, and we are going to start to see shorter and shorter VE towers as they add in new double S difficulties of VE towers, because that is just the way these VE towers have worked historically. The next character we're going to be moving is World Heroes Missions Todoroki. This guy is also going to be moving up from C tier where he sits right now. He's going to move a little bit further than Bakugo though. So he has status elements, he has technicals, he has ecstatic, which raises his own plus ultra gauge, he increases the team's crit rate by 15%, and then here's the biggest downside to him: he has 5 turn cooldowns. Okay, that can easily be fixed with a memory. So for that reason, and since we have had more memories come out that can reduce action skill cooldown time, by the way, Splash is out right now, which reduces action skill cooldown time for the whole team. Very good memory. But since we've had those memories come out, we are going to be moving him from C to A tier, and those buffs that they've given the World Heroes Missions characters, you can see have been actually really beneficial. We have put in the World Heroes Missions Deku up in S tier, Todoroki is now in A tier, and Bakugo, he may not have moved up as much, but he went from D to C, so that's pretty dang good. Those buffs are actually pretty decent. The next character, we still got a couple more to move around, is going to be Best Jeanist. This is a character that is actually going to be doing the opposite. He's going to be moving from A tier down. I'll tell you just how far down he's going here in a second, but he has technicals, he has status elements, he has amazing defense, like really good defense, and good cooldowns or okay cooldowns. But his biggest problems are that he lacks crit rate and plus ultra gauge raise. Plus ultra gauge raise, missing that could be crippling when it comes to a VE tower score. And the reason I had him up here in A tier before was because he did have have the counter, which gave him, you know, more potential for more crits. But I feel like that's just not good enough justification to keep him in A tier, whereas someone like Mount Lady, who has all the attack alls, is going to hit a lot more crits than him, and they're kind of there for the same reasons. So I feel like Best Jeanist has to go down at least 1 tier. So he's going to only be moving down 1 tier from A tier to B tier. So he's still moderately useful. He'll be useful in certain VE towers, but I don't feel like he's going to be useful in every single VE tower. He's more useful in the stages where you have more opponents, but where you have just one opponent, he's not going to be as useful. The next character we're going to be moving is Fest Ida. Fest Ida can increase his own and the allies plus ultra gauge, and he shortens the team's action skill cooldown time, which is just, it's so important to shorten action skill cooldown time of your team. Like, it's incredibly important, and for that reason we're going to be moving Fest Ida from B tier to A tier. I think he is going to be very useful, especially in VE tower when you're looking for those 4 to 5 turn clears and shortening action skill cooldown time. That is very important. We do have memories that do this now, but couple his ability to lower action skill cooldown time with a memory that does it, and you can all of a sudden use characters that you might not have been able to use before, and he slots in pretty well on almost any team. With that ends all the previous characters that we needed to move around. Now we get into the new units, and we're just going to go down the list here. We're going to start with Nagant. So Nagant has 4 technical hits. You heard that right, 4 technical hits. It's actually insane. She has her own plus ultra gauge raise. She has her own crit rate up by 35%. She has bullseye and she has pierce. She does lack status elements, so that's kind of one downside to her, but that's all right. You can get other characters on your team to do status elements, and she has 4 and 5 turn cooldowns before she shortens her action skill cooldown. So it's actually a 3 and a 4 turn cooldown, making Nagant S tier. Like, she is actually really good. 3 and 4 turn cooldowns, 4 technical hits, plus ultra gauge raise, crit rate, has bullseye and pierce, but just lacks status elements. A really good character for VE tower. The next character we're going to be placing is the World Heroes Missions Deku and Rhodey that came out with the rerun of the World Heroes Missions banner. So this character has status elements. They do have a technical, but only 1 technical. They have their own plus ultra gauge raise. They can cancel aggro effects. If there is an opponent in VE tower that draws aggro, you can cancel that. And they have 4 turn cooldowns, but they lack crit. And I feel like lacking crit is pretty important, and then also only having 1 technical is pretty important. And don't get me wrong, those things can be fixed with memories, but since they don't do it on their own, we're going to put them in B tier as moderately useful. I don't think they're going to be quite as useful as these other characters above them, so that is why they're going there. The next character we're going to be placing is Starry Knight Todoroki. He has status ailments, he has technicals, he has 4 turn cooldowns, and he gives crits to all ally int type characters. He does, however, lack plus ultra gauge raise. We do have memories that fix this, and because he does the status ailments, the technicals, he does a bunch of other stuff too, like increases the skill impact of your allies and speed and stuff like that. He just does a lot, right? He's actually going to go into S tier. Starry Knight Todoroki is really good. I think you will find a ton of uses for him in VE tower. The next character we're going to be placing is white-haired Tomura Shigaraki. This guy has status elements, he has technical hits, he removes buffs, and he has 4 turn cooldowns. But here's the problem. Even though he does all that, he does lack 2 critical things: plus ultra gauge raise and crits. Lacking plus ultra gauge raise and lacking crits is kind of rough for him. Also, he doesn't have status elements on both of his action skills. He only has it on one of his action skills. And so for that reason, we're actually going to put Shigaraki into C tier. I don't think he's going to be used quite as much as these other characters above him. I think he will have okay uses in certain towers, but not in every single tower. The next character we're going to be placing is a free-to-play character if you're able to earn him. Well, you're able to earn him over time anyways, I guess, from A and S difficulty of Climax Battle if you just farm it out over and over again. But Redestro, he has technicals and 4 turn cooldowns. That is it. He lacks status elements, he lacks crit, and he lacks plus ultra gauge up. He is an amazing tank, probably like the best tank in the game realistically once people finally start to get him leveled up after earning enough medals in Climax Battle. But yeah, besides being a great tank, which is great for PvP, he does not do much for VE Tower. And for that reason, Redestro is going to go down here in D tier, where I don't think you're hardly ever going to see him used, unfortunately, in VE Tower. But that's fine. He is clearly not a character designed for VE Tower. The next character we're placing, we finally get into the two newest characters. We got Summer Najire and Green Mirio of the big three. I am hoping Sun Eater is going to be next, coming somewhere along the line, so we get a whole new set of big three characters. But starting with Summer Najire, she raises her own plus ultra gauge, she nullifies status elements, has attack alls on every single skill, she has 4 turn cooldowns, but what she does lack is she lacks crits, and she lacks technicals, and lacking technicals is just, it's a big problem. And then on top of that, she lacks status elements, so she just lacks a lot of things, even though she has like a lot of good stuff like nullifying status elements and attack alls, which are great for PvP. Lacking crits, technicals, and status elements for VE Tower or PvE is a pretty massive problem. So Najire is actually going to go into C tier next to Shigaraki. I know you guys might have wanted her to be placed higher. I do think she's a really good unit, just not specifically for VE Tower. She's definitely more of like a club festival slash PvP unit, and that's where you're going to find a lot of uses for her. The last character we need to place is Green Mirio. He has a technical, he has status elements, and he has 4 turn cooldowns. He lacks plus ultra gauge raise, and he lacks crits, but because he does have a technical, he has status elements, and he has decent cooldowns, we're actually going to put him into B tier, where he is moderately useful, and I think you'll find some uses for him in the game. He is a tank, he can draw aggro, so that's good for him as well, giving you some more survivability in VE Tower. I will say Green Mirio may not be placing that high on this tier list, but he is going to be insanely good for PvP when he comes out, or at least on paper that's what it looks like. And if you guys want to see where he ranks on that PvP tier list, once again, that video will be coming out here in about a day or two, so make sure if you aren't subscribed, please go down there, hit that subscribe button. I am trying to get to 10,000 by the end of the year, and we got so far to go. I need your guys' help. Please help me out. If you're not subscribed and you watch these videos, please go down there, hit that subscribe button. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It helps so much to see that support, and leave me some comments about what you guys think about this tier list. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Keep it friendly in the comments though. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.